History often remembers the powerful leaders, the epic battles, and the grand treaties. But what about the moments when the entire world holds its breath, and our fate rests not on a king or a general, but on one ordinary person? This is the true story of how a single decision, a moment of hesitation, saved us all from a global catastrophe. It's a tale that proves sometimes the greatest acts of heroism are the ones nobody ever sees. It was the peak of the Cold War, a time of extreme tension. The world was divided, and two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, stood on the brink of conflict, armed with enough nuclear weapons to destroy the planet many times over. To prevent a surprise attack, both sides built massive, sophisticated early warning systems. These networks of satellites and ground-based radar were on high alert, 24/7, designed to detect an incoming missile launch in minutes. The goal was speed, to give leaders just enough time to retaliate. But this obsession with speed came with a terrifying risk. What if the system made a mistake? In a world where a decision had to be made in minutes, there was no room for error. On September 26, 1983, inside a secret command bunker near Moscow, that nightmare scenario became a reality. Just after midnight, a deafening alarm blared through the control room. Red lights flashed across a giant screen, displaying a single, terrifying word. Launch. The system reported that one nuclear missile had been launched from the United States and was heading straight for the Soviet Union. The protocol was brutally simple. The officer on duty, Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov, was required to report the launch up the chain of command immediately. This would trigger a full-scale nuclear retaliation. The fate of the world rested on his shoulders. PAs. As his team stared at him, expecting the order, more alarms went off. A second missile launch was detected, then a third, a fourth, and a fifth. The system was screaming that America had begun an all-out nuclear war. The pressure was immense. Every second of delay went against his training and his orders. But in that moment of chaos, something felt wrong to Petrov. He knew that a first strike from the US would be massive, involving hundreds of missiles, not just 5. It didn't make strategic sense. He also had a deep distrust of the new, untested satellite system. His gut told him it was a false alarm. Against every rule in the book, he made a decision. He picked up the phone to his superiors and reported a system malfunction, not an attack. It was a terrifying gamble. If he was wrong, his country would be defenseless. The minutes that followed must have felt like an eternity. Petrov and his team watched the screens, their hearts pounding, waiting for the missiles to arrive and prove him fatally wrong. But the sky remained empty. There were no explosions, no trails of fire. He had been right. It was later discovered that a rare alignment of sunlight, reflecting off high-altitude clouds, had tricked the Soviet satellites into thinking they were seeing missile launches. It was a technical glitch, a one-in-a-million fluke that almost ended the world. If Petrov had blindly followed protocol and pressed the button, the chain reaction of retaliation would have been unstoppable, plunging the world into a nuclear winter from which it might never have recovered. This terrifying close call taught the world a critical lesson about the dangers of over-relying on technology. Machines can process data at incredible speeds, but they lack human intuition, judgment, and the ability to understand context. In the wake of the incident, safety protocols were reviewed and improved, placing a greater emphasis on human verification. The world learned that, in the nuclear age, the final decision must always rest with a calm, rational human mind. Stanislav Petrov was never celebrated as a hero by his own government. His actions were kept secret for years, but he is a true hero to humanity. The world wasn't saved by a weapon, a politician, or a treaty. It was saved by one man's courage to doubt, to question, and to think for himself in a moment of unimaginable pressure. A powerful reminder that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is nothing at all. If this story moved you, please give this video a like and subscribe for more incredible true stories that changed our world. Thanks for watching.